Have you ever lived without feeling anything at all? No pain, no joy, no hope, not even despair. Just drifting. Drifting from one day to the next, as if someone else were living your life for you. I used to think I understood what death was. The heart stops beating. The blood stops flowing. Brainwaves go flat. But that's not true. Real death begins much earlier than that. It starts on the days you stop asking, "What am I living for?" In the moments you look at your children and no longer see yourself in their eyes. In the mornings, when you open your eyes and can't remember why you should get out of bed. For me, death didn't begin on the operating table. It began when I was still a perfectly normal woman, living in a reasonable, logical world where everything could be measured, analyzed, and controlled. My name is Evelyn Moore. Before everything happened, I was a complete atheist. I believed in science, in numbers, in medicine, and medical reports. I was the mother of 2 children, an educated, strong woman who worked in an environment that demanded precision and credentials. I used to believe that if something couldn't be seen, touched, measured, or described in medical terms, it simply didn't exist. I used to scoff when people talked about the soul, about reincarnation, or a divine plan. Spirituality? To me, that was just a game for fragile minds. But then my body started to betray me. After giving birth to my second child, I began experiencing severe hemorrhaging with every menstrual cycle. Nothing could stop the bleeding. I saw doctors. I followed every instruction. But month after month, I kept losing blood. And not just blood, I lost strength, the color in my skin, the light in my eyes, and my trust in everything I had once believed in. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. A woman was exhausted, pale, and hollow. A woman who once believed in everything and now believed in nothing. I didn't tell anyone, but I knew deep down I was slowly disappearing from my own life. In the end, the doctors decided surgery was necessary. A procedure they said would be simple. I agreed. I remember the night before the operation so clearly. I sat alone in my room, both hands resting on my stomach, the same stomach that had once carried 2 tiny lives, and I whispered in my mind, "If this is the end, will anyone know I truly existed? Or was I just a shadow passing through this world, quiet, logical, and forgettable?" When I entered the operating room that day, I wasn't afraid. Not because I had some deep trust in the doctors, but because I had nothing left to lose. I had already lost myself a long time ago. What I didn't know was that just minutes later, I would leave that body behind. And that the death I had spent my whole life denying was coming not to end me, but to rescue me. But what was waiting for me on the other side wasn't darkness. It was a light I had never seen before. A light that could call my soul by name from the place where I had forgotten it. Everything began to fade, but not in the way of sleep or anesthesia. No sedative had ever made my mind feel so awake. I couldn't hear my heartbeat anymore, nor the machines in the operating room. I only heard a silence so absolute, so unfamiliar, it felt as if the world itself had paused to make room for something far greater. And then I realized I was no longer in my body. I don't remember stepping out. I didn't see a door, didn't feel a threshold. One moment, I was a woman lying on an operating table. Next, I was a soul hovering above it, watching my body from above. I saw the nurses moving urgently. I saw the doctor calling my name. I saw my body pale and trembling slightly. But I felt no pain, no fear, no resistance, only a deep, calm knowing. I'm leaving. I began to drift not with my feet, but with thought. Each thought became motion. I wasn't heavy, I wasn't light. There were no boundaries. Then I entered a space I couldn't name. It wasn't void, and it wasn't darkness in any negative sense. It was a pure blackness, alive, as if filled with billions of tiny lights waiting to ignite. This space was conscious. I could feel it watching me, welcoming me, as though I had returned to where I truly belonged after a very long dream. I don't know how long I drifted, because time didn't exist there. Everything was now. Everything I had ever been, thought, or felt existed all at once. There was no before or after. And just when I thought I might dissolve completely into that timeless space, the light appeared. It didn't come like a flash of lightning. It simply was gentle, permeating every particle of my soul. This light wasn't hot, wasn't blinding, wasn't overwhelming. It didn't just illuminate, it understood. It knew me. It knew every thought I had ever hidden. Every moment I had rejected myself. Every quiet ache of loneliness I carried like a silent burden no one else could see. And then, the impossible happened. The light spoke to me. Not with words, not with sound, but I understood. As clearly as if it were the original language, my soul once spoke before time erased its memory. It didn't ask for my name. It didn't ask if I believed in God. It asked just one question. Do you remember who you are? I didn't know how to answer. But I wept like a child finally found after centuries lost. Because in that question, I knew I once knew the answer. I was a soul. I had a purpose. I had chosen to come to Earth for a reason so sacred, I had forgotten it beneath the weight of being human. And within that light, I began to see a world I had never believed in before, a realm where radiant beings awaited me. A place without language, where everything was simply understood. I didn't know if I was standing, floating, or flying. There was no gravity, no direction. Yet I wasn't lost. I was simply present so fully, so completely, it stunned me to realize I had never known I could exist this way. Every particle of what I can only describe as my soul seemed to be renewed, opened, and absorbed into the light surrounding me. And then, I felt them. Not people, not winged figures. They were light, but not anonymous light. Each being had a distinct vibration, a soul frequency uniquely their own. No introductions were needed. I knew them. I recognized each one without question. They were angels, and not in the way you might imagine, not majestic warriors, not robed figures holding swords. They were gentle, gentle like the soft touch of morning sunlight after a long, cold night. Every glance from them was a wave of healing. Every presence whispered a silent truth. You are loved. You have always been loved. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. Every thought was known instantly, wordlessly. They didn't ask what I had accomplished, what I had believed in, or which religion I followed. They simply listened to my soul, as if listening to an old song. They knew when I was hurt. They knew when I had pretended to be strong. They knew when I had stood in front of a mirror and couldn't meet my gaze. And they didn't judge. They simply looked at me with a tenderness I had never encountered in all my life. The sound in that place wasn't noise. It was music, but not the kind made of notes. It was a form of music that touched the deepest cracks in your soul, like waves of light singing from the heart of the universe. You didn't need ears to hear it, nor a mind to understand it. You only needed to be open. I don't know how long I was there. A second? 1,000 years? Time didn't exist there. There was no earlier or later. Only a flowing, eternal present where every question melted quietly into understanding. I began to feel transparent, not in a physical sense, but in the way boundaries seemed to dissolve. There was no longer a line between me and the light. No more edges between I and they. I became part of something far greater than myself. A whole that was loving itself. I had never felt so complete, so seen, so known not for what I had done, but simply for being. And then one of the light beings, a timeless elder of sorts, transmitted something I will never forget. You chose to come to Earth. Not to suffer, but to remember. To remember the love you had forgotten. I didn't fully understand, but something in me began to stir. A region of memory long asleep was waking up. I knew I had lived before. Many times. Each lifetime was a chapter in learning. And my soul, like countless others, had made a sacred agreement to return to Earth for something unfinished. And just as that memory began to rise, I was taken to an even more mysterious place, where I saw the Earth from above, wrapped in a glowing web of living light. And there, a message was waiting for me. I was lifted higher not by body, not by will, but by a current soft as wind, yet more powerful than any force of gravity I had ever known. I don't know what to call that place, but as I looked down, I saw Earth. Not like on a map, not like a satellite photo, but as a living being, breathing, vibrating, radiating light. Surrounding the planet was a massive, luminous web, woven together like strands of silver thread in constant motion. Each light was a soul, a life, a person living, loving, hurting, forgetting who they truly are. I saw threads connecting a mother praying in despair to a stranger smiling in another part of the world. I saw a lonely child crying in the dark, comforted by the soul of a grandmother long past. I saw myself sitting in silence day after day, believing I was alone, when in truth I had always been surrounded by hundreds of strands of unbroken light. It was the silver web of light, a network of souls. No one is truly alone. No one ever falls completely out of connection. We just forget where we belong. I wasn't just shown the web, I felt it. Each light was a call, a question echoing across the network. Do you remember why you came? And then that voice, wordless, radiant voice, rose again within me. It's time to go back. I didn't want to. I had just been held in love. I had just remembered who I was. I no longer felt pain. I no longer felt tired. I no longer doubted. But the light didn't push. It only asked, "Do you still want to finish what you once promised?" And then, like a film playing in reverse, I was shown the memory of my soul a moment before birth. I saw myself choosing this life, this family, these circumstances. I watched my soul nod in agreement before entering the world. I will forget, but then I will remember, and I will help heal. In that moment, I wasn't deciding with my mind. I was choosing with love. I nodded, and the light poured into me a mission. You will study medicine, not just of the body, but of the soul. You will become a doctor, not just to diagnose, but to awaken. I was stunned. I, Evelyn Moore, the woman who had never believed in the soul, was now entrusted with a mission to heal through the very things I had once dismissed. Not to become a preacher, but to become a bridge between East and West, between medicine and energy, between science and the sacred. I was no longer who I had been, and I wasn't yet who I was becoming. All I knew was this: the path had opened, and I had said yes. And when I agreed to return, the light gently withdrew. I felt a pull backward, gentle but firm, and then I began to fall back into my body. But this time, I didn't return as the person I used to be. I opened my eyes as if being pulled from an ocean of light back to the dry shore of reality. My vision was blurry. My throat was parched. Pain throbbed through my body, but none of it compared to one undeniable truth. I was no longer the woman who had entered that operating room. I had left, and I had returned, but not as the same person. I wasn't wounded. I had been reborn. A part of me had died, and another deeper, older, more awakened had just emerged. In those first days after waking up, I didn't dare tell anyone. Who would believe that a future doctor, a former atheist, had encountered a speaking light and angels who communicated through vibration? But the vision didn't fade. It remained more vivid than reality itself. The memories of the other side didn't vanish like a morning dream. They stayed clear, coherent, unwavering, as if someone had etched them into the walls of my soul. I couldn't go back to who I was. I couldn't pretend to be the old Evelyn, the one who only trusted evidence, lab tests, and data. I began to search. Every night after putting my children to bed, I read about bioenergetics, healing through frequencies, and spiritual consciousness. I sought out people who'd had near-death experiences. I read Eastern medical texts. I studied Qigong, meditation, meridians, and energy centers. And then one day I knew it was time. I had to start over. That year I was 50. While my peers talked about retirement, I filled out a medical school application. Some called me crazy. Others pitied me. But no one, not a single soul, understood why I was doing it. Only I knew. Because I had seen it. My mission. Long before I forgot. Long before I was born. And I was simply keeping a promise I had once made to myself. Returning to the classroom at 50 was anything but easy. My memory wasn't what it used to be at 20. I was studying while raising children, while working part-time. There were moments I thought I wouldn't make it. But every time I was tempted to give up, I remembered the light. I remembered the gaze of the angelic beings. I remembered the silver web of light surrounding the earth, where each soul is a glowing point waiting to awaken. I wasn't studying for recognition. I was studying so I could bring that light into this world. Eventually, I became a doctor, but not like any doctor I had ever known. I didn't just place a stethoscope on someone's chest. I placed my heart beside theirs. I didn't just ask where it hurt. I asked, "Is your soul tired?" I combined medicine with prayer. I guided meditation alongside prescriptions. I offered vitamins and also spoke about forgiveness. I began writing, sharing the story I had kept hidden for so long. And patients came to me not only because they were in pain, but because they felt something within them was yearning to be healed. Not just their bodies, their souls. And as I began to give back the light I had once received, I finally understood why I had to return. Because there are still millions out there who've forgotten who they are. And if someone like me, a former atheist, could remember, then so can you. If you're still listening, maybe a part of you is quietly asking, how do I know what my purpose is? Maybe you're in a dark place right now. Maybe you feel tired, lost, or like no one truly understands you. I've been there too. I used to think I was just a clump of matter living on instinct, nothing more. But then I died. And in that moment, I truly began to live. After everything, what I learned didn't come from medical textbooks. It wasn't found in exams or titles. What I learned is this: the human soul is never truly alone. Whether you believe it or not, whether you feel like a failure, invisible, or forgotten, there is always a network of light connecting you to everything. Souls are sending you signals, waiting for you to remember. Even in your darkest hour, you are not disconnected from the source. The light has never left you. Maybe you've just forgotten how to face it. We didn't come to Earth to be perfect. We came to remember, to love, to stumble and rise, to heal, starting from ourselves and reaching out to others. Every kind act you offer, every gentle glance you give someone in pain, every time you forgive, even if only in your heart, you're reconnecting with that web of light. I'm not telling this story to make you believe what I believe. I'm sharing it because if what I experience can spark even a small flicker of hope in you, then maybe that's why I was sent back. I no longer need to prove anything. I don't need anyone's belief to know I'm living truthfully. I'm simply doing what my soul knows is real. So if you're living and you're not sure you still believe, if you're hurting and can't seem to find your way out, I'm asking you one thing. Don't turn off the light in your heart. Let even the smallest ray of light find its way in. Because sometimes, just a flicker is enough to help you remember that you came from that light, too. That you are loved. That you are not a mistake. You are a perfect piece of a divine design still unfolding. And if you've ever experienced something you couldn't explain, a glimpse of light, a feeling, a moment when you thought you were touching death but returned with a different heart, tell me. Share your story. Because maybe your story will be the lantern that lights someone else's path. Do you believe your soul chose to come to Earth for a reason? If you've lived through something miraculous or unexplainable, share it in the comments below. And if this story touched something in you, don't forget to pass it on. Because light only grows when we share it.